Good morning and welcome to Reading Wikis for You, where we read the wiki articles for you. And today we're going to be reading about the Pittsburgh Steelers, a professional sports team in the National Football League. Now, as always, drop a comment down below while I'm reading. That way we know what articles you'd like to see next. So, without further ado, let's get started. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a professional American football team based in Pittsburgh. The Steelers compete in the National Football League as a member of the American Football Conference North Division. Founded in 1933, the Steelers are the seventh oldest franchise in the NFL and the oldest franchise in the AFC. In contrast with their status as perennial also-rans in the pre-merger NFL, where they were the oldest team never to have won a league championship, the Steelers of the post-merger era are among the most successful NFL franchises, especially during their dynasty in the 1970s. The team is tied with the New England Patriots for the most Super Bowl titles at 6, and they have both played in and hosted more conference championships than any other team in the NFL. The Steelers have also won 8 AFC championships, tied with the Denver Broncos, but behind the Patriots' record of 11 AFC championships. The team is tied with the Broncos, Dallas Cowboys, and San Francisco 49ers for the second most Super Bowl appearances with 8. The Steelers, whose history may be traced to a regional pro team that was established in the early 1920s, joined the NFL as the Pittsburgh Pirates on July 8, 1933. The team was owned by Art Rooney and took its original name from the baseball team of the same name, as was common practice for NFL teams at the time. To distinguish them from the baseball team, local media took to calling the football team the Rooneymen, an unofficial nickname that persisted for decades after the team had adopted its current nickname. The ownership of the Steelers has remained in the Rooney family since the organization's founding. Art Rooney's son, Dan Rooney, owned the team from 1988 until his death in 2017. Much control of the franchise has been given to Dan Rooney's son, Art Rooney II. The Steelers enjoy a large, widespread fan base nicknamed Steeler Nation. They currently play their home games at Acrisure Stadium on Pittsburgh's north side in the North Shore neighborhood, which also hosts the University of Pittsburgh Panthers. Built in 2001 as Heinz Field, the stadium replaced Three Rivers Stadium, which had hosted the Steelers for 31 seasons. Prior to Three Rivers, the Steelers had played their games in Pitt Stadium and at Forbes Field. History. Rooney family era, 1933 to present. The Steelers first took to the field as the Pittsburgh Pirates on September 20th, 1933, losing 23-2 to the New York Giants. Through the 1930s, the Pirates never finished higher than second place in their division, or with a record better than 500. Pittsburgh did make history in 1938 by signing Byron White, a future justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, to what was at the time the biggest contract in NFL history, but he played only 1 year with the Pirates before signing with the Detroit Lions. Prior to the 1940 season, the Pirates renamed themselves the Steelers. During World War II, the Steelers experienced player shortages. They twice merged with other NFL franchises to field a team. During the 1943 season, they merged with the Philadelphia Eagles, forming the Phil Pitt Eagles, and were known as the Steagles. The team went 5-4-1. In 1944, they merged with the Chicago Cardinals and were known as Card Pitt, or mockingly as the Carpets. This team finished 0-10, marking the only winless team in a franchise history. The Steelers made the playoffs for the first time in 1947, tying for first place in the division at 8-4 with the Philadelphia Eagles. This forced a tie-breaking playoff game at Forbes Field, which the Steelers lost 21-0. That would be Pittsburgh's only playoff game in the pre-merger era. They did qualify for a playoff bowl in 1962 as the second best team in their conference, but this was not considered an official playoff. In 1970, the year they moved into Three Rivers Stadium, and the year of the AFL-NFL merger, the Pittsburgh Steelers were one of the 3 old guard NFL teams to switch to the newly formed American Football Conference, the others being the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Colts, in order to equalize the number of teams in the 2 conferences of the newly merged league. The Steelers also received a $3 million, or $24.3 million today, relocation fee, which was a windfall for them. For years, they rarely had enough to build a true contending team. Chuck Noll years, 1969 to 1991. The Steelers' history of bad luck changed with the hiring of coach Chuck Noll from the NFL champion Baltimore Colts for the 1969 season. Noll's most remarkable talent was in his draft selection, taking Hall of Famers Mean Joe Green in 1969, Terry Bradshaw, and Mel Blount in 1970, Jack Ham in 1971, Franco Harris in 1972, and finally in 1974, pulling off the incredible feat of selecting 4 Hall of Famers in one draft year: Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, John Stallworth, and Mike Webster. The Pittsburgh Steelers' 1974 draft was their best ever. No other team has ever drafted 4 future Hall of Famers in one year, and only very few, including the 1970 Steelers, have drafted 2 or more in one year. The players drafted in the early 1970s formed the base of an NFL dynasty, making the playoffs in 8 seasons and becoming the only team in NFL history to win 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, as well as the first to win more than 2. They also enjoyed a regular season streak of 49 consecutive wins from 1971 to 1979 against teams that would finish with a losing record that year. The Steelers suffered a rash of injuries in the 1980 season and missed the playoffs with a 9-7 record. The 1981 season was no better, with an 8-8 showing. The team was then hit with the retirements of all their key players from the Super Bowl years. Mean Joe Green retired after the 1981 season, Lynn Swann and Jack Ham after 1982's playoff berth, Terry Bradshaw and Mel Blount after 1983's divisional championship, and Jack Lambert after 1984's AFC championship game appearance. After those retirements, the franchise skidded to its first losing season since 1971. Though still competitive, the Steelers would not finish above 500 in 1985, 1986, and 1988. In 1987, the year of the players' strike, the Steelers finished with a record of 8-7 but missed the playoffs. In 1989, they would reach the second round of the playoffs on the strength of Merrill Hoge and Rod Woodson, before narrowly missing the playoffs in each of the next 2 seasons, Noll's last seasons. Noll's career record with Pittsburgh was 209, 156, and 1. Bill Cowher years, 1992 to 2006. In 1992, Chuck Noll retired and was seated by Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator Bill Cowher, a native of the Pittsburgh suburb of Crafton. Cowher led the Steelers to the playoffs in each of his first 6 seasons, a feat that had been accomplished only by legendary coach Paul Brown of the Cleveland Browns. In those first 6 seasons, Cowher coached them as deep as the AFC Championship game 3 times, and following the 1995 season, an appearance in Super Bowl 30, on the strength of the Blitzburg defense. However, the Steelers lost to the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 30, 2 weeks after a thrilling AFC Championship victory over the Indianapolis Colts. Cowher produced the franchise's record-tying 5th Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 40 over the NFC champion Seattle Seahawks 10 years later. With that victory, the Steelers became the 3rd team to win 5 Super Bowls and the first 6th-seeded playoff team to reach and win the Super Bowl since the NFL expanded to a 12-team postseason tournament in 1990. He coached through the 2006 season, which ended with an 8-8 record, just short of the playoffs. Overall, Cowher's teams reached the playoffs 10 of 15 seasons with 6 AFC championship games, 2 Super Bowl berths, and a championship. Cowher's career record with Pittsburgh was 149, 90, and 1 in the regular season, and 161, 99, and 1 overall, including playoff games. Mike Tomlin years, 2007 to present. On January 7, 2007, Cowher resigned from coaching the Steelers, citing a need to spend more time with his family. He did not use the term retire, leaving open a possible return to the NFL as a coach of another team. A three-man committee consisting of Art Rooney II, Dan Rooney, and Kevin Colbert was set up to conduct interviews for the head coaching vacancy. On January 22, 2007, Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator Mike Tomlin was announced as Cowher's successor as head coach. Tomlin is the first African American to be named head coach of the team in its 75-year history. In his first season, he led the Steelers to a 10-6 record and AFC North title. The team fell to the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-29 in the wild card round to end the season. The following year, he led the Steelers to a 12-4 mark and a division title. With wins over the San Diego Chargers in the divisional round and the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship, Tomlin became the 3rd consecutive Steelers head coach to go to the Super Bowl, equaling the Dallas Cowboys, Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson, and Barry Switzer in this achievement. On February 1, 2009, Tomlin led the Steelers to their 2nd Super Bowl of this decade and went on to win 27-23 against the Arizona Cardinals. At age 36, he was the youngest head coach to ever win the Super Bowl, and he is only the 2nd African-American coach to ever win the Super Bowl. Tony Dungy was the first. In their title defense, the Steelers went 9-7 and missed the postseason in the 2009 season. In the 2010 season, Tomlin led the team to a 12-4 record and an AFC North title. The team defeated the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round and the New York Jets in the AFC Championship. Tomlin became the only coach to reach the Super Bowl twice before the age of 40, as he took the team to Super Bowl 45 on February 6, 2011. However, the Steelers were defeated by the Green Bay Packers 31-25. In the 2011 season, the Steelers made the postseason with a 12-4 record. They lost in overtime to the Denver Broncos in the wild card round. The Steelers recorded their 400th victory in Week 8 of the 2012 season after defeating the Washington Redskins. Overall, the Steelers went 8-8 and missed the postseason in 2012. In the 2013 season, the Steelers went 8-8 and missed the postseason. In the 2014 season, the Steelers won the AFC North with an 11-5 record. They lost 30-17 to the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round. The Steelers finished with a 10-6 record and made the playoffs in the 2015 season. They defeated the Cincinnati Bengals in the wild card round and lost to the Denver Broncos in the divisional round. In the 2016 season, the Steelers won the AFC North with an 11-5 record. They defeated the Miami Dolphins in the wild card round and the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round before falling to the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship. In the 2017 season, the Steelers won the AFC North with a 13-3 mark. Their postseason was short-lived with a 45-42 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Despite a 9-6-1 record in the 2018 season, the Steelers missed the playoffs. The Steelers went 8-8 and missed the postseason in the 2019 season. The 2020 season saw the Steelers have franchise best 11-0 start. However, the team faded at the end of the season to finish 12-4. The team lost in the wild card round to the Cleveland Browns 48-37. The 2021 season saw the team go 9-7-1 to make the postseason. The Steelers lost 42-21 to the Kansas City Chiefs in the wild card round. Longtime quarterback Ben Roethlisberger retired following the 2021 season. Through the end of the 2021 season, Tomlin's record is 162-94-2, or 6.632, including playoffs. He is the first Pittsburgh coach to never post a losing season. The 2013-2017 seasons were noted for record performances from the Killer Bees. This trio consisted of Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, and Le'Veon Bell. Occasionally, the Killer Bees has also included kicker Chris Boswell due to his ability to hit game-winning field goals. Prior to the 2022 season, the team drafted Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett with their first-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Pickett started 12 games as the Steelers went 9-8 and missed the postseason in the 2022 season. In the 2023 season, the team finished 10-7 and third in the AFC North. They made the playoffs and were defeated by the Buffalo Bills in the wild card round 31-17. Prior to the 2024 season, the Steelers traded Pickett to the Philadelphia Eagles. The team traded for Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears and signed Russell Wilson, who was released from the Denver Broncos. Summary. Since the NFL merger in 1970, the Pittsburgh Steelers have compiled a regular season record of 442-282-2, and an overall record of 480-305-2, including the playoffs, reached the playoffs 30 times, won their division 22 times, played in 16 AFC championship games, and won 6 of 8 Super Bowls. They are also the only NFL team not to have a season with 12 or more losses since the league expanded to a 16-game schedule in 1978. Ownership. Since 2008, the Rooney family has brought in several investors for the team while retaining control of the team itself. This came about so that the team could comply with NFL ownership regulations. Dan Rooney and his son, Art Rooney II, president of the franchise, wanted to stay involved with the franchise, while two of the brothers, Timothy and Patrick, wanted to further pursue racetracks that they own in Florida and New York. Since 2006, many of the racetracks have added video slot machines, causing them to violate NFL policy that prohibits involvement with racetrack and gambling interests. Upon Dan Rooney's death in 2017, he and Art Rooney II retained control of the team with the league minimum 30%. The following made up the other investors at the time. Several other members of the Rooney family, including Art Rooney Jr., John Rooney, and the McGinley family, who are cousins to the Rooneys. The Robert A. Paul family of Pittsburgh and Los Angeles, which is primarily involved with Pittsburgh-based Ampco Pittsburgh Corporation, as well as Morton's Restaurant Group, Urban Active Fitness, Meyer Products, and Harley Marine Services. Additionally, family members serve on numerous boards, including Cornell University, UPMC, University of Pittsburgh, the American Red Cross, Harvard Medical School, and the Loomis Chaffee School. Former Steelers wide receiver John Stallworth, a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Legendary Pictures president and CEO Thomas Tull. GTCR chairman Bruce V. Rauner. The Peter Verichetti family of Brockway, which owns several nursing homes and a commercial real estate business. Paul Evanson, Chairman, President, and CEO of Allegheny Energy. Russ and Scott Swank of Lower Burl. 3 minority investors in the Steelers have since become the majority owners of other NFL teams. Pilot Flying J CEO Jimmy Haslam purchased the Cleveland Browns in 2012. Hedge fund manager David Tepper purchased the Carolina Panthers in 2018. Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils owner Josh Harris purchased the Washington Commanders in 2023. Investment partner David Blitzer was also a part of the Harris Group. Season-by-season records. Through the end of the 2023 season, the Steelers have an all-time record of 707 to 606 to 22, including playoffs. In recent seasons, the Steelers have generally performed well, qualifying for the playoffs 6 times in the past 10 seasons, while winning their division 4 times. In the NFL's modern era, the Steelers have posted the best record in the league. The franchise has won the most regular season games, the most playoff games, won the most divisional titles, has played in the most conference championship games, hosted the most conference championship games, and is tied with the Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, and the New England Patriots for the most Super Bowl appearances. The Steelers have the best winning percentage, earned the most All-Pro nominations, and have accumulated the most Super Bowl wins since the modern game started in 1970. In 2017, they became the first team to reach 450 victories in the regular season since the 1970 merger. The Steelers are 36-26 in the postseason, with all but one, the 1947 playoff, having been played since the merger. Civil rights advocacy. The franchise, along with the Rooney family, have for generations been strong advocates for equality of opportunity for both minorities and women. Among these achievements of the Steelers was the first to hire an African-American assistant coach, September 29th, 1957, with Lowell Perry. The first to start an African-American quarterback, December 3rd, 1973, with Joe Gilliam. The first team to boast of an African-American Super Bowl MVP, January 12th, 1975, with Franco Harris. The first to hire an African-American coordinator, September 2nd, 1984, with Tony Dungy. The first owner to push for passage of an equal opportunity, mandating that at least one minority candidate is given an interview in all head coach hiring decisions throughout the league. The Rooney Rule in the early 2000s, and the first to hire a female as full-time athletic trainer, Ariko Iso, on January 24th, 2002. Championships. Super Bowl championships. All right. Under Chuck Noll, they went to Super Bowl 9, 10, 13, and 14 in 1974, 75, 78, and 79. They won Super Bowl 40 in 2005 under Bill Cowher, and Super Bowl 43 in 2008 under Mike Tomlin. AFC Championships. 1974, 75, 78, and 79 under Chuck Noll. 1995 and 2005 under Bill Cowher. 2008 and 2010 under Mike Tomlin. Division Championships. The Steelers were part of the NFL Eastern Division from 1933 to 43, and were briefly in the Western Division in 1944 before returning to the Eastern Division until 1949. The team was then in the American Conference from 1950 to 1952 and the Eastern Conference from 1953 to 1966. They were then placed in the Century Division of the Eastern Conference in 1967 when the league reformed into the NFC and AFC in 1970. The Steelers were placed in the AFC Central until 2001 when they were realigned into the AFC North Division. All right, for the division championships under Chuck Noll, 1972, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 83, and 84. Under Bill Cowher, 1992, 94, 95, 96, 97, 2001, 2002, and 2004. And under Mike Tomlin, 2007, 2008, 2010, 14, 16, 17, and 20. Logo and uniforms. The Steelers have used black and gold as their colors since the club's inception, the lone exception being the 1943 season when they merged with the Philadelphia Eagles and formed the Steagles. The team's colors at that time were green and white as a result of wearing Eagles uniforms. Originally, the team wore solid gold-colored helmets and black jerseys. The Steelers' black and gold colors are now shared by all major professional teams in the city, including the Pittsburgh Pirates in baseball and the Pittsburgh Penguins in ice hockey. The shade of gold differs slightly among the teams. The Penguins have previously used Vegas gold, a color similar to metallic gold, And the Pirates gold is a darker mustard yellow gold, while the Steelers gold is more of a bright canary yellow. Black and gold are also the colors of the city's official flag. The Steelers logo was introduced in 1962 and is based on the steel mark, originally designed by Pittsburgh's U.S. Steel and now owned by the American Iron and Steel Institute. In fact, it was Cleveland-based Republic Steel that suggested the Steelers adopt the industry logo. It consists of the word Steelers surrounded by 3 asteroids, hypocycloids of 4 cusps. The original meaning behind the asteroids were, steel lightens your work, brightens your leisure, and widens your world. Later, the colors came to represent the ingredients used in the steel-making process, yellow for coal, red for iron ore, and blue for scrap steel. While the formal steel mark logo contains only the word steel, the team was given permission to add ERS, or ERS, in 1963 after a petition to AISI. The Steelers are the only NFL team that puts its logo on only one side of the helmet, the right side. Longtime field and equipment manager Jack Hart was instructed to do this by Art Rooney as a test to see how the logo appeared on the gold helmets. However, its popularity led the team to leave it that way permanently. A year after introducing the logo, they switched to black helmets to make it stand out more. The Steelers, along with the New York Giants, are one of only 2 teams in the National Football League to have the players' uniform numbers on both the front and back of the helmets. The current uniform designs were introduced in 1968. The design consists of gold pants and either black jerseys or white jerseys, except for the 1970 and 71 season, when the Steelers wore white pants with their white jerseys. In 1997, the team switched to rounded numbers on the jersey to match the number font, Futura condensed, on the helmets, and a Steelers logo was added to the left side of the jersey. The 2007-2011 third uniform, consisting of a black jersey with gold lettering, white pants with black and gold stripes, and a gold helmet, were first used during the Steelers' 75th anniversary season in 2007. They were meant to evoke the memory of the 1963-64 era uniforms. The uniforms were so popular among fans that the Steelers organization decided to keep them and use them as the third option during home games only. In 2012, the Steelers introduced a new third uniform consisting of a yellow jersey with black horizontal lines, making a bumblebee-like pattern, with black lettering and black numbers placed inside a white box to represent the jerseys worn by the Steelers in their 1934 season. The rest of the uniform consists of beige pants, yellow with black horizontal striped socks, and the Steelers' regular black helmet. The uniforms were used for the Steelers' 80th anniversary season. Much like the previous alternate, these jerseys were so popular they were used up through the 2016 season. The jerseys were nicknamed the Bumblebee jerseys due to looking like the pattern of a bumblebee. The jerseys were retired after the 2016 season. Also in 2016, the Steelers introduced its alternate black color rush uniforms. These were based on the uniforms they wore from 1946 to 1965, but with black pants in place of either gold or white pants. In 2018, the Steelers unveiled a third uniform based on those worn from 1968 to 1997, coinciding with the Steel Curtain teams of the 1970s. It is similar to the current uniforms, but without the Steelers logo on the left chest, and used block lettering and numbers in place of Futura condensed. In 1979, the team owners were approached by then Iowa Hawkeyes head coach Hayden Fry about designing his fading college team's uniforms in the image of the Steelers. 3 days later, the owner sent Fry the reproduction jerseys, home and away versions, of then quarterback Terry Bradshaw. Today, the Hawkeyes still retain the 1979 Steelers uniforms as their home and away colors. Rivals. The Pittsburgh Steelers have 3 primary rivals, all within their division: Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens, and Cincinnati Bengals. They also have rivalries with other teams that arose from postseason battles in the past, most notably the Las Vegas Raiders, Dallas Cowboys, Denver Broncos, New England Patriots, and Tennessee Titans. They also have an intrastate rivalry with the Philadelphia Eagles, but under the current scheduling, the teams play each other only once every 4 years. Divisional rivals: Cleveland Browns. The Steelers and Cleveland Browns have been divisional rivals since the two cities' teams began playing against each other in 1950, after posting a 9-31 record in the first 40 games of the series between the two cities. The Steelers have gone 66, 27, and 1 since 1970 and currently lead the series 75 to 58 to 1. The Steelers have particularly dominated the Browns since their return to the NFL in 1999 and won 12 straight meetings between 2003 and 2009. Additionally, the Browns posted losing streaks of 16 and 15 games in Pittsburgh. Former Steelers head coach Bill Cowher coached the Browns' special teams and secondary before following Marty Schottenheimer for a brief tenure as Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator and then hired by Pittsburgh. This has only intensified the rivalry. The teams have met 3 times in the postseason, 1994, 2002, and 2021, with the Steelers winning the first 2 meetings but losing the most recent in 2021. Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh's rivalry with the Baltimore Ravens has had several memorable matchups and has escalated into a fierce divisional rivalry. Both teams handed the other their first losses at their current home stadiums. The Steelers won the inaugural game played at Baltimore's M&T Bank Stadium in 1998, 20-13, and 3 years later the Ravens handed the Steelers the first ever loss at Heinz Field, 13-10. Later that season, 2001, Pittsburgh won a divisional playoff game, 27-10, against Baltimore, who was the defending Super Bowl champion. During their NFL championship season in 2000, the Ravens defeated the Steelers in Pittsburgh, 16-0. In the season opener, with the Steelers later exacting revenge, 9-6, in Baltimore. Let me read that again. During their NFL championship season in 2000, the Ravens defeated the Steelers in Pittsburgh, 16-0. In the season opener, with the Steelers later exacting revenge, 9-6, in Baltimore, the Ravens' final loss of the season. During the Steelers' 2008 championship run, they beat the Ravens 3 times, including a win in the AFC Championship game. The two teams complement each other by consistently fielding strong defenses. The Steelers lead the all-time series, including playoffs, 32-24. The teams have met 4 times in the postseason, with the Steelers owning a 3-1 record. Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers' rivalry with the Cincinnati Bengals dates from the 1970 season when the AFL-NFL merger was completed. In 1976, the Steelers kept their playoff hopes alive. They later won the division, with a late-season 7-3 win in snowy Cincinnati. One of the most memorable games was the 2005 AFC wildcard playoff game in which the Steelers, en route to a Super Bowl title, won a 31-17 come-from-behind victory after Bengals quarterback Carson Palmer was forced to leave the game with a knee injury. The injury happened when nose tackle Kimo von Oelhoffen contacted Palmer's knee during a passing play. The Bengals players called this a dirty play. The NFL ruled that it was accidental and did not fine Van Oelhoffen for the hit. The incident led to an intensifying of the rivalry. The Bengals beat the Steelers in Week 13 of the 2005 season, 38-31, and wide receiver T.J. Hoshmanzadeh Hoshmanzadeh. I very much apologize, sir. Used a terrible towel to polish his cleats while walking up the tunnel after the game, fueling the rivalry. The Steelers and Bengals finished 2005 and 2006 with identical records, 11-5 and 8-8 respectively, splitting both regular season series, the Bengals winning the tiebreaker both years due to having a superior division record. The Steelers also are responsible for ending the Bengals season in Cincinnati 2 years in a row, eliminating from the playoffs in 2005 and taking them out of contention in 2006. The rivalry has become more intense again since the 2015 season. A central figure is Bengals linebacker Vontaz Burfict, often inflicting brutal hits, resulting in serious injuries to several Steelers on multiple occasions. In the 2015 wildcard playoff game in Cincinnati, Burfict was the culprit of a late penalty directly responsible for an extremely unlikely 18-16 Steelers comeback victory. The Steelers lead the all-time series 63-35. The teams have met twice in the postseason, with the Steelers winning both times. Conference. New England Patriots. The New England Patriots emerged as a prominent rival in league circles when the Patriots upset the Steelers in the 2001 AFC Championship game at Heinz Field. Though the two teams had met in the postseason twice before, the Patriots defeated the Steelers in 1996, 28-3, while the Steelers won 7-6 in 1997. Both times, the Patriots fielded players with Pittsburgh area roots in Ty Law and Curtis Martin. Martin's final game with the Patriots was in the 1997 playoffs before he departed to the rival New York Jets. Following the 2001 AFC title upset, the Patriots defeated the Steelers 30-14 at the start of the 2002 season. Pittsburgh did not exact revenge for the 2 losses until ending the Patriots' record-setting 21-game winning streak in Week 6 of the 2004 NFL season. Later that season, the Steelers lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion Patriots in the AFC Championship game after a 15-1 regular season. The Patriots won 6 of the 7 meetings over a 10-year period, 1998 to 2007, before the Steelers broke through with a 33-10 victory at Foxborough in 2008 after Matt Castle turned the ball over 5 times. The Patriots in 2013 then made history by becoming the first opponent to score 55 points on the Steelers, winning 55-31. The Patriots won again in 2015, 28-21, in 2016's regular season 27-16, and then won 36-17 in the 2016 AFC Championship game. They also won in 2017 when a go-ahead touchdown reception by Steelers tight end Jesse James was controversially called back. Though they ultimately missed the playoffs, the Steelers defeated the Patriots by a score of 17-10 on December 16, 2018 in Pittsburgh. In the postseason, the Patriots have outscored the Steelers to 135-75, with the Patriots maintaining a 4-1 record. The only other franchises with winning AFC playoff records against Steelers include the Los Angeles Chargers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Denver Broncos. The Steelers have an all-time regular season record of 15-13 against the Patriots. In the Bill Belichick era, the main period of the rivalry, the Patriots have a 12-4 record against the Steelers. In their last matchup, the Patriots beat the Steelers 33-3 on Sunday Night Football. Tennessee Titans. Pittsburgh also has a rivalry with the Houston Oilers Tennessee Titans franchise. The Oilers were aligned into the AFC Central with the Steelers in 1970 and were division rivals for 32 seasons. The Steelers dominated the rivalry during the Houston era and defeated the Oilers in all three of their playoff matchups. However, since the franchise moved to Tennessee in 1997, the rivalry shifted, with the Titans winning 13 of 22 meetings, including a bitter 34-31 playoff showdown in 2002. The Titans won 7 in a row in the 1997 to 2001 period, the longest win streak by either team in the series. The Steelers have won 47 of 79 career meetings, following their 27-24 win at Nissan Stadium in 2020. Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos in 2011 broke a tie with the Oakland Raiders for the most playoff meetings versus the Steelers and added yet another meeting in 2015. The Broncos have met Pittsburgh 8 times to Oakland 6. The Steelers' rivalry with the Broncos dates from 1970, but the first notable contest came in 1973, when Denver dealt Pittsburgh its first regular season defeat at Three Rivers Stadium, 23-13. The following year, they met in the NFL's first regular season overtime game, which ended in a 35-35 tie. Denver's first playoff game had them hosting the Steelers in the 1977 divisional round. The Broncos won 34-21. The following year, the Steelers hosted and defeated Denver 33-10 in the divisional round. Their next playoff matchup was the 1984 divisional round in Mile High Stadium. The Steelers pulled the upset 24-17. They nearly pulled the upset again 5 years later in Denver, but the Broncos prevailed in the divisional playoff 24-23. In 1997, the two teams met in Pittsburgh for the AFC Championship game, where Denver squeaked out a 24-21 win. 8 years later, the Steelers advanced to Super Bowl 40 by beating Denver 34-17 in Colorado. In 2011, after appearing in Super Bowl 45, the Steelers had their campaign to repeat as AFC champions dashed in Denver after a stunning overtime upset by the Tim Tebow-led Broncos in January 2012 in what would become known as the 316 game. The following September, the Steelers were defeated in Denver 31-19 in Peyton Manning's debut as Broncos quarterback. The two clubs met twice in 2015 as the Steelers defeated the Broncos in the regular season but fell in the divisional round of the AFC playoffs. Through the 2021 season, Denver leads the series 20-30, 13-1, including 5-3 in the playoffs. Neither team has beaten the other more than 3 times in a row. In their last matchup, the Steelers beat the Broncos on October 10, 2021 in Pittsburgh by the score of 27-19. Oakland, Los Angeles, Las Vegas Raiders. The Steelers' rivalry with the Raiders was one of the most heated battles of the 1970s and early to mid-1980s. The Steelers' first playoff victory in franchise history came against the Raiders, which occurred on December 23, 1972, in a 13-7 victory over the Raiders. The victory occurred when Terry Bradshaw threw a pass intended for John Fuqua that was deflected into the hands of Franco Harris, who scooped the ball from nearly hitting the ground and carried the ball in for a touchdown, which was later referred to as the Immaculate Reception, while attracting controversy from Raiders players and coaches who alleged that the ball had bounced off Fuqua, which would have made it an illegal play per the rules of the time. The victory sent Pittsburgh to their first ever AFC Championship game. The following year, the two teams met in the divisional round again, and the Raiders responded with a 33-14 victory to advance to the AFC title game. However, Pittsburgh fired back with 2 straight AFC Championship victories over the Raiders in 1974 and 1975 to reach the Super Bowl. The Raiders responded with a victory over Pittsburgh in the 1976 AFC Championship game 24-7. But not before Chuck Noll referred to Raider George Atkinson as part of the NFL's, quote, criminal element, unquote, after his alleged cheap shot on Lynn Swann during a regular season matchup. Atkinson and the Raiders later filed a defamation of character lawsuit against Noll, but lost. Following the 1983 regular season, the Los Angeles Raiders defeated the Steelers 38-10 in the AFC divisional round, which turned out to be the last NFL game for Steeler Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw, who did not play due to injury. While the rivalry has dissipated over the years, mostly due to the Raiders' decline after 2002, the teams have had notable games against each other, including an upset Steelers victory towards the end of the 2000 season to prevent the Raiders from obtaining home field advantage in the playoffs, and an upset Raiders victory in Week 8 of the 2006 NFL season, which helped cost the Steelers a playoff berth. In Week 13 of the 2009 season, another Raiders upset victory happened. The game lead changed 5 times on 5 touchdowns in the fourth quarter until Raiders quarterback Bruce Gradkowski's third touchdown of the quarter won it with 9 seconds to go. The 27-24 loss cost the Steelers another playoff run. The teams met in Pittsburgh in 2010, where the Steelers blew out the Raiders 35-3 and ended their 3-game winning streak. The game was further notable for a punch thrown by Richard Seymour of the Raiders against Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. The Raiders then hosted the Steelers in 2012 and erased a 31-21 gap to win 34-31. The two clubs met again in 2013 and the Raiders won again 21-18. In 2015, the Steelers defeated the Raiders 38-35 at Heinz Field. On December 9, 2018 in Oakland, the Raiders defeated the Steelers 24-21, which ironically would cost Pittsburgh another playoff berth. The Raiders won at Pittsburgh on September 19, 2021, 26-17, then fell on Christmas Eve 2022 at Pittsburgh 13-10 on a last-minute touchdown by rookie Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett. A lifeless performance in a 23-18 loss at Vegas on September 23, 2023, contributed to the later firing of Raiders coach Josh McDaniels and GM Dave Ziegler. As of the 2024 season, the Raiders lead the all-time series 17-16. Interconference, Dallas Cowboys. The Steelers once took part in a historic rivalry with the Dallas Cowboys. Started with the Cowboys' first game as a franchise in 1960 against the Steelers at the Cotton Bowl, with the Steelers coming away with a 35-28 victory. These teams hold a record for the most times that two teams have met in a Super Bowl. The first 2 times the favored Steelers and Cowboys met came with the Pittsburgh victories in the Orange Bowl, Super Bowl X, 21-17, and Super Bowl XIII, 35-31. The Cowboys never won a regular season game in the Orange Bowl and lost 3 Super Bowl games, once to the Baltimore Colts and twice to the Steelers. Between the Cowboys and Steelers, Super Bowl XIII had the greatest number of future Pro Football Hall of Fame players participating, which as of 2021 numbered 25, 16 players and 9 coaches in front office, including Ernie Stautner, defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, who was a Hall of Fame defensive tackle for the Steelers. The teams featured an all-star matchup at quarterback between the Steelers' Terry Bradshaw and Cowboys' Roger Staubach, both of whom are in the Hall of Fame. In 1977, Staubach and the Cowboys won Super Bowl XII, their second and last loss of their season being inflicted by Bradshaw and the Steelers, 28-13, at Three Rivers Stadium in November. In 1979, Staubach's final season, the 2 defending conference champs met again at Three Rivers, the Steelers winning 14-3 en route to winning their 4th Super Bowl title. The Steelers won 6 of 8 meetings during the 1970s and 80s, before the Cowboys won all 4 meetings during the 1990s, including the team's record 3rd Super Bowl meeting in 1996, as this time the heavily favored Cowboys beat the Steelers 27-17. Dallas cornerback Larry Brown intercepted Pittsburgh quarterback Neil O'Donnell twice and was named the game's MVP. The team's first 2 meetings of the 21st century, 2004 and 2008, were won by the Steelers, including a come-from-behind victory on December 7, 2008 in Pittsburgh, when the Steelers drove the length of the field to tie the game 13-13. Then cornerback Deshea Townsend returned an intercepted pass from Tony Romo for the game's final score, Steelers 20, Cowboys 13. The Cowboys won on December 16, 2012 at Cowboys Stadium by a 27-24 margin in overtime and won 35-30 at Heinz Field on November 13, 2016. The all-time series is led by the Dallas Cowboys 17-16. The Pittsburgh-Dallas rivalry served as a backdrop to the 1977 film Black Sunday, parts of which were filmed during Super Bowl X. Most recently, the Steelers beat the Cowboys by a 24-19 margin. Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles and Steelers are both located in Pennsylvania and began play in 1933. From that season through 1966, this was a major rivalry for both teams, as both were part of the same division. In 1967, they were placed in separate divisions but remained in the same conference for 3 years. In 1970, the Steelers, along with the Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Colts, moved to the American Football Conference while the Eagles stayed with the rest of the old-line NFL teams in the National Football Conference. As a result, the Eagles and Steelers no longer played each other every year. Instead, they are scheduled to meet once every 4 years in the regular season. The most recent meeting was in 2024 at Lincoln Financial Field, a game in which the Eagles won 27-13. The Steelers have lost 11 straight games on the road against the Eagles, dating back to 1966, which was also the start of the Super Bowl era. The Eagles lead at the all-time series 50-29-3. Culture. Mascot. Prior to the 2007 season, the Steelers introduced Steely McBeam as their official mascot. As part of the 75th anniversary celebrations of the team, his name was selected from a pool of 70,000 suggestions submitted by fans of the team. Diane Rolls of Middlesex Township submitted the winning name, which was meant to represent steel for Pittsburgh's industrial heritage, MC for the Rooney family's Irish roots, and Beam for the steel beams produced in Pittsburgh, as well as for Jim Beam, her husband's favorite alcoholic beverage. Steely McBeam is visible at all home games and participates in the team's charitable programs and other club-sponsored events. Steely's autograph is known to be drawn with an oversized S, and the L is drawn to look like a beam of steel. The Steelers have a tradition of having a large fan base, which has spread from Pittsburgh. In August 2008, ESPN.com ranked the Steelers fans as the best in the NFL, citing their unbelievable sellout streak of 299 consecutive games. The team gained a large fan base nationally based on its success in the 1970s, but many consider the collapse of the city's steel industry at the end of the 1970s dynasty into the 1980s and the resulting diaspora to be a large catalyst for the size of the fan base in other cities. The Steelers have sold out every home game since the 1972 season. The Pittsburgh Steelers have numerous unofficial fan clubs in many cities throughout the country that typically meet in bars or taverns on game days. This phenomenon is known to occur for other NFL teams as well, but Steeler bars are more visible than most, including representative establishments even in cities that field their own NFL teams. The Terrible Towel has been described by the Associated Press as, quote, arguably the best-known fan symbol of any major pro sports team, unquote. Conceived of by broadcaster Myron Cope in 1975, the towel's rights have since been given to the Allegheny Valley Schools in Coraopolis, which cares for over 900 people with intellectual disability and physical disabilities, including Cope's autistic son. Since 1996, proceeds from the Terrible Towel have helped raise more than $2.5 million for the school. Fight songs. The Steelers have no official fight song, but many fan versions of Here We Go Steelers and the Steelers Polka, the latter a parody of Pennsylvania Polka, by ethnic singer Jimmy Pole, both originating in the 1970s, have been recorded. Since 1994, the song Here We Go by local singer Roger Wood has been popular among fans. Since 2002, the 1979 Styx song Renegade is played near the end of the third quarter or the start of the fourth quarter at the start of a defensive stand to rally the crowd. Featuring a compilation of recent Steelers defensive highlights, another song from hometown rapper Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow, which is an ode to growing up in Pittsburgh, is also a standard part of the Steelers' home game experience. Cheerleaders. The Steelers were the first NFL team to have a cheerleading squad. They were known as the Steelerettes. Their run lasted from 1961 to 1969. To this day, they were the only cheerleaders the team had in their history. Basketball. During the offseason, the Steelers have long participated in charity basketball games throughout western Pennsylvania and neighboring areas. The games usually feature 6 active players as well as their player coach playing against a group of local civic leaders. The players whose participants aren't announced until the day of the game sign free autographs for fans during halftime. Facilities. Stadiums. In 2001, the Steelers moved into Heinz Field. The franchise dating back to 1933 has had several homes. For 31 seasons, the Steelers shared Forbes Field with the Pittsburgh Pirates from 1933 to 1963. In 1958, though, they started splitting their home games at Pitt Stadium 3 blocks away at the University of Pittsburgh. From 1964 to 1969, the Steelers played exclusively at the on-campus facility before moving with the Pirates to Three Rivers Stadium on the city's north side. The team moved to what was then known as Heinz Field in 2001. In February 2022, after Heinz declined to sign a new deal after naming rights expired, the Steelers signed a deal with Acrisure and renamed the stadium to Acrisure Stadium. Training camp. The Steelers hold training camp east of the city at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. The site is one of the most storied in the league, with Peter King of SI.com describing it as, quote, "I love the place. It's the perfect training camp setting. Looking out over the rolling hills of the Laurel Highlands in west central Pennsylvania, an hour east of Pittsburgh, on a misty or foggy morning standing atop the hill at the college, you feel like you're in Scotland. Classic. Wonderful slice of American culture. If you can visit one training camp, this is the one to see." The team has its headquarters in practice facilities at the state-of-the-art University of Pittsburgh Medical Center Sportsplex on Pittsburgh's south side. Constructed in 2000, the facility combines the vast experience of sports medical professionals and researchers, as well as hosting the University of Pittsburgh Panthers football team. In 2020 and 2021, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Steelers held their training camp at Heinz Field. They returned to St. Vincent College for the 2022 season. Historical facilities. The Rooney family has long had a close relationship with the Duquesne University in the city, and from the team's founding in the 1930s until the late 1990s, used Art Rooney Field and other facilities on campus as either its primary or secondary in-season training site, as well as Greenleaf Field during the 1930s. In the 1970s and 1980s, the team had season scrimmages at South Park in the suburban South Hills of Pittsburgh. During various seasons, including the strike season of 1987, the Steelers used Point Stadium in nearby Johnstown for game week practices. During the 1950s, St. Bonaventure University, where Art Rooney's brother Silas was serving as athletic director, and suburban Ligonier also served as a preseason training camp site. Statistics. There's a separate article for Pittsburgh Steelers statistics. Players of note. Separate article for that. Current roster. As always, we do not read the current roster because I don't know when you're going to watch this, but go check the article for a list of current players. Retired uniform numbers. Number 32, Franco Harris, fullback. Number 70, Ernie Stoutner, defensive tackle. Number 75, Joe Green, defensive tackle. The Steelers retired Stoutner's number 70 in 1964 before creating a 50-year tradition of not retiring numbers. The team retired Green's number 75 in 2014 and left the possibility open that they would retire other players' jersey numbers at later dates. However, several numbers have not been reissued since the retirement of the players who wore them, including number 1, Gary Anderson, number 7, Ben Roethlisberger, number 12, Terry Bradshaw, number 36, Jerome Bettis, number 43, Troy Polamalu, 47, Mel Blount, 52, Mike Webster, 58, Jack Lambert, 59, Jack Ham, 63, Dermontti Dawson, 86, Hines Ward. Numbers 1, 47, and 59 were regularly issued for a time before being taken out of circulation. Number 31 was initially taken out of circulation in honor of Donnie Shell, but was reissued with Shell's blessing in 2001 to Mike Logan, who grew up in suburban McKeesport and had idolized Shell when he was younger. After Logan retired in 2006, 31 returned to regular circulation, likely due to 36 being removed for Bettis, as well as 47 being removed due to some controversy involving the number being issued multiple times following Blunt's retirement. Notably, numbers 80, 82, 83, 84, and 88 remain in circulation despite the NFL relaxing uniform numbering rules and more numbers being available for receivers. Pro Football Hall of Famers. The Steelers boast the third most primary inductees into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, i.e. inductees that spend most or all of their NFL careers in Pittsburgh. They also can claim the most honorees of any franchise founded on or after 1933, and the only franchise with 3 members of ownership in the Hall of Fame. All right. Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famers. Number 36, Jerome Bettis, running back. Number 47, Mel Blount, cornerback. Number 12, Terry Bradshaw, quarterback. Number 80, Jack Butler, cornerback. Number 63, Dermontti Dawson, center. Number 35, Bill Dudley, running back. Number 66, Alan Faneca, 2021, guard. Number 75, Joe Green, defensive tackle. Number 59, Jack Ham, offensive linebacker. Franco Harris, fullback. John Henry Johnson, number 35, fullback. Number 35, Walt Kiesling, guard. Number 58, Jack Lambert, offensive linebacker. Troy Polamalu, number 43, strong safety. Donnie Shell, number 31, safety. Number 82, John Stallworth, wide receiver. Number 70, Ernie Stoutner, defensive tackle. Number 88, Lynn Swan, wide receiver. Number 52, Mike Webster, center. Number 26, Rod Woodson, cornerback. Number 91, Kevin Green, offensive linebacker. Coaches and contributors: Bill Cowher, head coach; Chuck Knoll, head coach; Bill Nunn, scout, assistant director of player personnel, and senior scout; Art Rooney, founder and owner; Dan Rooney, executive owner. Steelers in the hall for contributions elsewhere. Number 36, Cal Hubbard, inducted under the Green Bay Packers. Number 15, Johnny Blood McNally from the Green Bay Packers. Bobby Lane, number 22, from the Detroit Lions. Number 36, Marion Motley, Cleveland Browns. Number 14, Johnny Unitas, Baltimore Colts. Number 16, Len Dawson, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 7, Jim Finks, 1995, Minnesota Vikings. Number 21, Tony Dungy, Indianapolis Colts. Burt Bell was a co-owner and head coach and was inducted as a National Football League commissioner. Mike Munchak, coach from the Houston Oilers. Russ Grimm from the Washington Redskins as a coach. Dick LeBeau, defensive coordinator, Detroit Lions. Miscellaneous award recipients: Rocky Bleer, former Steeler running back, received the Purple Heart, Bronze Star, and the Combat Infantryman badge while serving in the Army in Vietnam. Pat Livingston, Steelers beat writer for the Pittsburgh Press, awarded the 1979 Dick McCann Memorial Award. Vito Stellino, Steelers beat writer for the 1970s for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, awarded the 1989 Dick McCann Memorial Award. Myron Cope, announcer, awarded the 2005 Pro Football Hall of Fame's Pete Rozelle Radio and Television Award. John Clayton, Steelers beat writer for the Pittsburgh Press, awarded the 2007 Dick McCann Memorial. All right, and I'm not going to read the list of all of the Pro Bowl players, but you can see that in the article. NFL MVPs: 1946, Bill Dudley as a halfback, and 1978, Terry Bradshaw as a quarterback. Defensive Player of the Year award winners: 1972 and 1974, Joe Green as defensive tackle. 1975, Mel Blount, cornerback. 1976, Jack Lambert, linebacker. 1993, Rod Woodson, defensive back. 2008, James Harrison, linebacker. 2010, Troy Polamalu, safety. 2021, TJ Watt, linebacker. Rookie of the Year award winners: 1972, Franco Harris, running back. 1984, Lewis Lips, wide receiver and return specialist. 2004, Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback. Those are the offensive rookies. Defensive rookies of the year: 1969, Joe Green, defensive tackle. 1974, Jack Lambert, linebacker. 2001, Kendrell Bell, linebacker. Super Bowl MVPs: Super Bowl 9, Franco Harris, running back. Super Bowl 10, Lynn Swan, wide receiver. Super Bowls 13 and 14, Terry Bradshaw, quarterback. Super Bowl 40, Hines Ward, wide receiver. Super Bowl 43, Santonio Holmes, wide receiver. NFL All-Decade Teams. The following Steelers were named to the NFL All-Decade Teams and 75th and 100th Anniversary All-Time Teams selected in 1994 and 2019, respectively. Only those who spent time with Pittsburgh during the respective decades are listed. Bold indicates those elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 1930s All-Decade Team: Johnny Blood McNally as a halfback. 1940s All-Decade Team: Bill Dudley, Bucko Kilroy, Vic Sears, Al Wistert. 1950s All-Decade Team: Bobby Lane, Ernie Stoutner, Jack Butler. 1960s All-Decade Team: no players selected. 1970s All-Decade Team: Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan, Mike Webster, L.C. Greenwood, Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, and Chuck Knoll as coach. 1980s All-Decade Team: Mike Webster, Jack Lambert, Mel Blount, Gary Anderson, Chuck Knoll as coach. 75th Anniversary All-Time Team: Johnny Unitas, Marion Motley, Mike Webster, Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Mel Blount, and Ron Woodson. 1990s All-Decade Team: Dermontti Dawson, Kevin Green, Hardy Nickerson, Levon Kirkland, Rod Woodson, Carnell Lake, and Gary Anderson. NFL 2000s All-Decade Team: Alan Faneca, Joey Porter, Troy Polamalu. NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team: Johnny Unitas, Marion Motley, Mike Webster, Cal Hubbard, Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Mel Blount, Rod Woodson, and Chuck Noll. 2010's All-Decade Team: Antonio Brown and Maurkice Pouncey. All-Time Team: in 2007, in celebration of the franchise's 75th season, the team announced an updated all-time team of the 33 best players who have ever played for the Steelers. This team supplanted the previous all-time team of 24 players named as part of the 50th anniversary commemoration in 1982. A Legends team consisting of the club's best pre-1970s players was released concurrently with the latest all-time team. Dapper Dan Sportsman of the Year. The regional Dapper Dan Charities has since 1939 named the Sportsman of the Year in the Pittsburgh region. 19 Steelers have won the award in 23 events. 1941, Aldo Donnelly. 1942 and 46, Bill Dudley. 1950, Joe Gary. 1952, Red Dawson. 1955, John McLosin. 1962, Lou Michaels and John McLosin. 1968, Dick Hoke. 1972, Chuck Noll. 1974, Joe Green. 1975, Terry Bradshaw. 1977, Franco Harris. 1984, John Stallworth. 1985, Lewis Lips. 1992 and 1994, Bill Cowher. 1997, Jerome Bettis. 2001, Cordell Stewart. 2004, Ben Roethlisberger. 2006, Jerome Bettis. 2008, Mike Tomlin. 2014 and 15, Antonio Brown. 2018, James Conner. 2020, Cameron Hayward. Hall of Honor. The Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Honor was established on August 1st, 2017. There have been 60 inductees. All right, number 36, Jerome Bettis. Number 20, Rocky Bleer. Number 47, Mel Blount. Number 12, Terry Bradshaw. Number 87 and 79, Larry Brown. Number 80, Jack Butler. Broadcaster, Myron Cope. Bill Cowher, coach. Number 57, Sam Davis. 63, Dermotty Dawson. 84, Buddy Dial. 35, Bill Dudley. 66, Alan Faneca. Number 51, James Ferrier. 92, Jason Gilden. 75, Joe Green. 91, Kevin Green. 68, L.C. Greenwood. 59, Jack Ham. 98, Casey Hampton. 32, Franco Harris. 92, James Harrison. 42, Dick Hoke. 62, Tunch Ilkin. 35, John Henry Johnson. 35, Walt Kiesling. 55, John Kolb. 37, Carnell Lake. 58, Jack Lambert. 22, Bobby Lane. Defensive back coach and defensive coordinator, Dick LeBeau. Lewis Lips, number 83. Number 95, Greg Lloyd. 56, Ray Mansfield. 25, Ray Matthews. 15, Johnny Blood McNally. 83, Heath Miller. 72, Jerry Mullins. 81, L.B. Nickel. Coach, Chuck Noll. Scout, Assistant Director of Player Personnel and Senior Scout, Bill Nunn. 39, Willie Parker. 43, Troy Polamalu. 55, Joey Porter. 53, Maurkice Pouncey. I apologize if I'm ruining any of these names. Number 7, Ben Roethlisberger. Personnel Director and Vice President, Art Rooney Jr. Founder, President, and Chairman of the Board, Art Rooney Sr. President and Chairman, Dan Rooney Sr. Number 34, Andy Russell. 31, Donnie Shell. 91, Aaron Smith. 82, John Stallworth. 70, Ernie Stoutner. 88, Lynn Swan. 23, Mike Wagner. 86, Heinz Ward. 52, Mike Webster. 78, Dwight White. 26, Rod Woodson. Coaches. The Steelers have had 16 coaches throughout their history. They have cycled through the fewest head coaches in the modern NFL history. Their first coach was Forrest Dowds, who coached them to a 3-6-2 record in 1933. Chuck Noll had the longest term as head coach with the Steelers. He is one of only 4 coaches to coach a single NFL team for 23 years. Hired prior to the 2007 season, the Steelers' current coach is Mike Tomlin. We then have a list of current staff. Again, check the article at the time of reading for if you're interested in that. Offensive coordinator history. Again, a list of that. Defensive coordinator history. List of that. Media. As of 2006, the Steelers' flagship radio stations were WDVE 102.5 FM and WBGG 970 AM. Both stations are owned by iHeartMedia. Games are also available on 51 radio stations in Pennsylvania, Western Maryland, Ohio, and Northern West Virginia. The announcer is Tunch Ilkin. Craig Wolfley is the sideline reporter. Myron Cope, the longtime color analyst and inventor of the terrible towel, retired after the 2004 season and died in 2008. Longtime lead announcer Bill Hillgrove retired after the 2023 season. Preseason games not shown on one of the national broadcasters are seen on CBS O&O KDKA TV Channel 2, independent sister station WPKD TV Channel 19, and AT&T Sportsnet Pittsburgh. KDKA TV's Bob Pompiani and former Steelers quarterback Charlie Batch do the announcing for the preseason games, as well as the two hosting the pregame program Steelers Kickoff during the regular season prior to the national airing of the NFL Today. Pompiani and former Steelers lineman Chris Hoke also host the Xfinity Extra Point following the game on days when CBS does not have that week's NFL doubleheader. When CBS has a week's doubleheader, the show airs on WPKD TV. Coach Mike Tomlin's weekly press conference is shown live on AT&T Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Both Batch and Hoke replaced former Steelers lineman Edwin Nelson, who retired from broadcasting in 2015. Thursday night football broadcasts are shown locally on Fox affiliate WPGH TV Channel 53, along with home games with NFC opponents and some flexed interconference games. While ESPN Monday night football broadcasts are shown locally on WTAE TV Channel 4. WTAE TV is owned by the Hearst Corporation, which owns a 20% stake in ESPN. By virtue of being members of the AFC, most of the Steelers games air on CBS and KDKA. NBC Sunday night football games are carried by WPXI, Channel 11 in the market. The Steelers hold a national contract with Grupo Imagen for radio rights to their games in Mexico. Imagen broadcasts the Steelers on their stations in 17 Mexican cities. Figures with broadcasting resumes. The Steelers franchise has a rich history of producing well-known sportscasters over the years. The most famous of these is probably Myron Cope, who served as a Steelers radio color commentator for 35 seasons. Several former Steelers players have gone on to careers in media after completing their players' careers. Newspaper. The Steelers Digest is the only official newspaper for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It has been published for 22 years and is currently published by Dolphin Curtis Publishing in Miami, Florida, which also handles several other publications. The newspaper is very widely acknowledged by Steelers fans. Issues are mailed out to paying subscribers weekly through the season after every regular season game and continue through playoffs as long as the Steelers do. After a Super Bowl victory, a bonus issue is published, which is followed by a draft preview, draft recap, and training camp edition every other month, then leading into the preseason. There are typically 24 issues of the paper within a publishing year. The newspaper is listed on the official Steelers.com page. Usage in popular culture. The Steelers' success over the several decades has permeated film and literature. The Steelers are portrayed in the following big-budget Hollywood films. The January 11, 1975 episode of The Mary Tyler Moore Show featured Super Bowl IX featuring the Steelers as a plot device. Black Sunday in 1977. Heaven Can Wait in 1978. Smokey and the Bandit 2 in 1980. Fighting Back, 1980. Hey Kid, Catch in 1980. All the Marbles in 1981. Evening Shade TV series, 1990 to 1994. The Waterboy cameo by Bill Cowher in 1998. The Longest Yard in 2005. The Chief, a theater production. Black and Yellow in 2010. The Dark Knight Rises in 2010 features several Steelers players as the fictional Gotham Rogues, which was filmed in Heinz Field. Mad Men's April 14, 2013 episode has Don Draper, Pete Campbell, and Roger Sterling meeting with two H.J. Heinz executives. The executives are told that not only would the ad firm have given them tickets to the Steelers' November 19, 1960 game at the Giants, the firm would have worked it so the Steelers would have won. They lost 20-28. Concussion in 2015 features players from the team suffering from CTE. The protagonist of John Grisham's novel, The Associate, is a staunch Steelers fan. In the summer of 2019, the Kennywood theme park located near Pittsburgh opened a new land themed to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Steeler Country, featuring a major record-breaking coaster, the Steel Curtain. The land, in addition to this ride, features a Steelers-themed experience and an end zone restaurant. The Chuck Noll Foundation for Brain Injury Research. The Steelers helped launch the Chuck Knoll Foundation for Brain Injury Research in November 2016 by donating $1 million. The foundation, started by Steelers president Art Rooney II, focuses on education and research regarding brain injuries and sports-related concussions. In June 2017, the Steelers announced an inaugural charity walk to raise money for the foundation. See also active NFL playoff appearance streaks, Pittsburgh Pro Football Hall of Fame. All right, note. Although Marlon Briscoe is sometimes erroneously cited as the first African-American starting quarterback in 1968, this was not for an NFL team and not in an NFL game. The Denver Broncos, for which Briscoe played, were an American Football League team then. Additionally, the vast majority of Briscoe's career was not as quarterback. All right, there we go. There's your Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. And as always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and drop that comment down below so I know what you'd like to hear next. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.